Great morning, business owners and managers, and welcome to another awesome episode of CX in the Morning, Customer Experience in the Morning. I am your host, Wes Walters, and on every single CX in the Morning, I bless you with customer service tips, customer experience tricks, and I leave you with gems. And by gems, I mean actionable takeaways. Hold on. We're not live on IG. What's going on? What is going on here? The family on IG is not getting some of the goodies. That is not good. Let's see. Oh my goodness, all of this. Filters and add to story. All right. All right, let's do that again. All right. Hi, IG family. All right. Like I said, by gems, I mean actionable takeaways that you can implement at the speed of now. Immediately after this broadcast, you will be able to take what you've learned, applying it to your team and your business, making your team and your business better. So, how was everyone's weekend? How was your weekend? And of course, what did the data say? Not how you feel, not what you think, but what does the data say? Did you do well? Did you make money? I want to preface by saying this. Hey, great morning, Naya. How you doing? So I want to preface by saying this. Here in Georgia, we have something in the spring times that's called pollen. And I know, if you're not from Georgia, you think pollen is those little microscopic things that you cannot see. But it is not like that here. In the springtime, the pollen is so thick, you can write your name on cars with the pollen. Now, every spring, I have to just take a lot of sinus medications to combat the pollen because it affects the sinus, and it's not a good feeling. Now, today is that one day where I was about to say, I can't do it. Nah, I mean, I had 4 different cell phones set to alarm, and I would just get up, turn them off, and go back to bed because the pollen, today was that day. Yeah, man. So I asked myself, I wasn't going to do the show today. I wasn't going to do the show. I said, I can't do the show. And I asked myself if telling my viewers the reason I'm not having the show is because of pollen, would that be a good enough excuse? And for those in Georgia, they would be like, yeah, totally, I get it, I understand. But for those who are not in Georgia, they're going to look at me as if I'm crazy because, where I'm from, pollen doesn't wipe you out. Pollen is just those little microscopic things. And the sinus effects that they give you is not even worth talking about. So think about the people in New York or Cali who watch this show, who would not understand, who would be like, you didn't do the show because of pollen? So I realized that wasn't going to be a good enough excuse. The only reason I don't have shows is whenever I'm serving another customer, paying customer. And this is not that. Today was not a day like that. So using pollen as an excuse to not do the show was just didn't sit well with me. That was just not a good enough justification. So we're here and we're going to do the show. Now, I will say this. During the show, if you see the screen goes blank and my mic go mute, that means I'm blowing my nose because out of the blue, the sinus just comes down without warning. Hey, great morning, Miss Bernadette. Great morning, Miss Bernadette. So, yeah, I just want to give you that. And people on Instagram, I guess I don't know how I paused the recording, but yeah, I might just go to another app. But during the show, if you see me, if tears start coming down, it's not because I am so moved by my words. It's not because the compelling message touched deeply and I'm crying. No, it's the sinus. All right. So now is one of those times where I have to mute the camera, hide the camera, and mute my mic because I have to blow my nose. And we're back. Like I was saying, Miss Bernadette, you're late, but I was telling the viewers that today was one of those days where I thought of not doing the show because here in Georgia. Oh, you heard my soliloquy. Yeah, it's in Georgia, man. The pollen it's like nowhere else I've ever experienced. The pollen is just violent. The pollen is violent. And today was one of those days they had me down, but I asked myself, was telling my viewers pollen was the reason we didn't have a show. Was that a good enough excuse? And for those in the part of the country who don't have pollen like we have in Georgia, they would not understand. That would not be a good enough justification of not having a show. So I'm going to push through on just as long as you understand. If you see the screen goes blank and the mic goes mute, it's because I have to blow my nose. And if you see tears running down, it is not that I'm crying. It's the sinus. All right. So let the juggling begin. So the name of this show is entitled, like it says, How to Get Out of That Stagnation Funk. How to get out of that stagnation funk. Sometimes as business owners and managers, we get to the point where we plateau. We're like, things are going well, we plateau, and we just are stagnant for a while. Now, stagnant is better than going backwards, recession, but stagnant is not where we want to be. We want to constantly be leveling up. We want to get to level. Now, that what used to be that ceiling is now the floor. We level up that to that new ceiling. Now that new ceiling what used to be the ceiling that we're looking up to is now the floor, and we continuously leveling up. That's what we want to do. And even me, even myself, I sometimes have to hit the refresh button because I'm like, hey, looking at the metrics, I've been here for a while and we're supposed to be leveling up. So I would always have a quick huddle with my team. I'm like, okay, what's the problem? And a lot of times it's because the big goals are sometimes intimidating to myself and to the team. They're intimidating. They're like, oh man, like we got to eat an elephant. So, but if you slice the elephant into small pieces, and I love elephants. So, my son who's an animal lover, he's like, oh, don't kill the elephant, daddy. But I'm trying to get an illustration. You got to eat something that's massive. Don't look at the massive thing. Say, hey, how do I slice this into small pieces and break it down into bite-sized pieces so that we can attack this? So, geez, here we go. So here we go. The way you do that is utilizing the S.M.A.R.T method, the S.M.A.R.T method. The S.M.A.R.T method is a formula, a method that I've used over the years to, whenever I'm in a stagnant position, to get me out of the stagnation and to get the team moving and to propel the team to the next level. So in the S.M.A.R.T method, all right, Ms. Bernadette, hit S for smart. Type the letter S for smart. In the S.M.A.R.T method, the S.M.A.R.T, the S stands for specific. Specific. So you want your goals to be specific. You don't want to say, well, I want to make a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money. What's the goal for the business? We want to make a lot of money. No, you want to say the goal for the business is to make $60,000 a month or $100,000 a month. That's the goal. So it's a specific goal. And what those goals, you have micro goals. So in order to get to $100,000 a month, we have to open. You do the math. You reverse engineer it. You say, how much money do you make in an hour on an average? And if you say this is how much money we make in an hour, you say, well, we need to work 10 hours per day times 5, and that will give us times 40, times 5, 10, 15, 20. That would give us 20 days. So we reverse engineer. You say, how much money do we make in an hour? You say, okay, well, if we multiply that by 10 hours, we're open 10 hours, and then we multiply that by 5 days, and then we multiply that by 20 days per month, then we see how we can get to that 100,000. So you just don't, it's not wishful thinking where you're like, we want to make a lot of money. You say, we want to make $100,000 a month. It's reverse engineering. So it's a specific number. It's not just pixie dust like, we're going to pray on it. No. God is telling you to be specific. So S in the SMART method stands for specific. And again, it is not based on feelings. It is not based on emotions. It's based on the data. It's based on math. It's based on the metrics. You can see how you can make the 100,000 by going down to the smallest level and say, how much money do we make an hour and an average? And we multiply that by the amount of hours we're going to be open per day, and then how many days per week we're going to work, and how many days per month we're going to work. That gets you your $100,000 a month. For the S is for specific. Now, the M for the SMART method, type M if you're still here, the letter M. M stands for measurable. And all of the viewers of this show knows everything that I do is based on, it cannot be measured. Everything I do is based on the data. Everything. No emotional decisions over here. Everything is based on the data. So is it measurable? Can it be measured? And like the example that I just gave, of course it can be measured. So the goal needs to be measurable, and everyone on the team needs to know what the unit of measurement is. We're trying to get to 100,000 a month, and this is how much we make per hour. So the entire team needs to know this. So you don't wake up at the end of the month being like, how did we miss our goal? No. You catch that in the hour. In that hour, if you didn't make your 5,000, you say, hold up, we are behind. And we need to double up in going into hour 2. So there are no surprises. You don't wait at the end of the month to be like, oh my God, we didn't make our goal. No, you are able to nip that in the bud in the hour on the micro level. Immediately in the hour where you realize that, oh my God, we did not make our numbers this month, this hour. So the entire team knows we got to double up into the next hour. So it's not a big surprise at the end of the month. Like, oh, how did we miss? How did this happen? How did we not make our goals? No. You catch it on the micro level. A lot of times in businesses, what I see is that they wait until it's a volcano. No, you want to catch it when it's a small little match. Like, hold up. There's a problem here. Don't wait until it's a volcano erupting. At the end of the month, when you realize you're not at $100,000 a month, that's a volcano. You're like, where, how did this happen? Is it Joanne's fault? Is it Debbie's fault? Is it John's fault? No, you're able to catch this in the hour that we are behind. And it's hard to keep up, but it's harder to catch up. So the M in the SMART method is measurable, and you're able to measure this not on a macro level, yes, but also at a micro level within the hour, even within the half an hour. If you know you're supposed to make $5,000 an hour, at half an hour you should be at 250. So you're able to measure it down to that the micro level. All right. So now the A in the SMART method stands for achievable. Stands for achievable. Type the letter A for achievable. Achievable needs to be, this needs to be a goal that it's achievable. If you know that making $100,000 a month is unlikely, that shouldn't be a goal. If you're only, for the last 2 years, you've only been making $20,000 a month. For the last 2 years, if you've only been making $20,000 a month, then setting a goal for $100,000 a month is not achievable. It's not. So you want to be realistic. If your goals, if you've been making $20,000 a month for the last 2 years, maybe your new goal should be 25. Your new goal should be at 25, because 25 it gets you a little outside of your comfort zone, but it's definitely reachable. It's a goal that can be done. Yeah, you can add an extra $5,000 easily. If your monthly revenue goals have been 20,000, you can easily get to 25,000. That's easy. But saying that your monthly revenue goals have been 20,000 and now you want to get to 100,000, that's not achievable. So the A for the SMART method it's achievable. Now let's go to the R. The R is relevant. If you're still on, type the letter R. R is relevant. The goal needs to be relevant to your business. In this case, if you have a catering service, your goal should be based on either the output of how many plates you're going to serve per event, how can you get the cost of food down, how can you serve more people at a faster pace. It should be a goal that's relevant. Your goal, if you are a restaurant, should have nothing to do with tinting windows on cars. How many windows can we tint? Your goal, if you have a catering service, should have nothing to do with I don't know, rotating tires for the car. No. Your goal should be relevant to your business. And T, the T in the SMART method, type T if you're still on, the T stands for time-based. So you need to put a goal to a time for those goals. So you say we're going to start making, we're going to say we're going to get $100,000 a month, and you want to write it in the present tense. This is the key. You want to write it in the present tense. So you say we are generating $100,000 a month by this date. I know it sounds crazy. How are you saying it in the present, but the date is in the future? Listen, the research says that's the way you say it. It sends a message to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind can't tell the difference between now or later. If you add it now, the subconscious mind sees it that this is your reality. So you says we are earning $100,000 a month. So we are earning, meaning in the present, and you just put the date by 4th of July, 2021. You don't have to say our goal is to be earning $100,000 a month by 4th of July, 2000. No, say we are currently earning in the present progressive. We are earning $100,000 a month by 4th of July, 2021. So you want to say it in the present tense. Let me know if that makes sense, because you're sending them, the mind is going to respond to it as it is happening right now. That's how the mind works. It's like, hey, this is what I'm a millionaire. If you start acting like a millionaire, the mind thinks we're a millionaire. I walk the way way millionaires work. I dress, I speak. Millionaires don't rant on social media. Millionaires don't hold money next to their ears. Millionaires, yeah. So you start acting like that in the present tense. So you say, again, for time base, you want to speak about it in the present tense, and you want to put a date on it. All right. So this is what I use. This is the SMART method that I use whenever I experience stagnation, whenever I'm in a funk, whenever I realize that there's not a lot of growth, I implement the SMART method, and that gets me going again. So I encourage you to implement the SMART method with your team. Was this helpful? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up or a 1 if this was helpful. And thank you guys for being understanding with the sinus. But we pushed through. We made it. It's only 22 minutes, quick and fast. And you guys got the content, and I was able to push through. So using pollen as an excuse, there you go. If you keep moving, then you can get it done. Miss Bernadette says T. And Miss Bernadette, type of 1 if this was helpful, if the SMART method was helpful. And again, whenever you run into stagnation with your team, you want to just implement the SMART method. Again, the S stands for specific. The goal needs to be specific. We are going to make this number per month. Not we're going to make a lot of money. We're going to make this number, and then you reverse engineer the number to say this is how we achieve this goal. The M for the SMART method is measurable. The goal needs to be measurable. Again, using the example, you could say, hey, this is how much we want to make per month. This is how much we need to make per week. This is how much we need to make per day. This is how much we need to make per hour, and even by the half hour. The A in SMART method is achievable. It needs to be achievable. If you're only making $20,000 a month, your goal for the new month should not be $100,000. It should be maybe $25,000. The R in the SMART method is it relevant? The goal needs to be relevant, pertaining to your business or industry. And of course, the last one, like we just mentioned, is T for time-based. The method, the goal needs to have a time stamp on it. If you don't put a time, it's just, hey, we will get to it whenever we want to. But you want to put a time, and you want to speak to that goal in the present. Even though it's in the future, you want to say, we already have this right now. We are already understanding and operating as this is the norm right now. However, by this date. Trust me, it sounds crazy with the first time I learned about it, but it works. All right. So, like they say, Monday is always a microcosm for Monday. Monday is always a microcosm for the week. You guys have an amazing Monday. If you have an amazing Monday, if you come out swinging for the fences, if you crush Monday, normally you crush the rest of the week. Monday sets the tone. If you really crush Monday, so that's the goal, is to always crush Monday. If you crush Monday, the rest of the week is pretty much easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right. Well, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I love you guys. Peace.